Hello and welcome back to another edition. We have a new week dawning upon us. Today is Sunday, 15th of February, and it's the third trading week of the month of February. As you can see from the calendar here, we've gone through the first week, second week was here the past week, and now we are heading for the third trading week of the month of February. Time really do fly. I have in front of me the calendar for the week, and it is important we begin from here because this is one of the most key points in decision making within the week. We have to be very much aware of what day red folder news are being released and what time to be able to help us make very key decisions in our trading for the week. So Monday is US bank holiday, and so there's not going to be a lot happening, which is good because we inadvertently going to skip that day. We do have some news on Tuesday for GBP in the morning, that's for London. And then also on Wednesday, GBP CPI in the morning as well. We do have FOMC meeting minutes, on Wednesday. And then Thursday, there's unemployment claims. So I believe for the dollar index, sorry, and for the dollar, Wednesday and Thursday are going to be key days for whatever price wants to do. So um, in the morning of Thursday, 8:30 a.m., and that is very key for whatever decisions that we'd have to make. Friday, we do have GBP, we have Euro, we have GBP, and then so there's basically news for all of the major currencies on Friday. Right? So quickly, let's hop onto the chart to see what we have in front of us. So now, as you can see, the first trading week of February was pullback, right? We had an up candle, and then the third trading week of the first trading week was an up candle. The second trading week was a down candle closing below the opening of the previous week and then also the low of the previous week. This in itself signifies that the dollar is heavy and is more likely to trade lower, right? When we see a candle closing very well below the opening and also the low of the previous candle, then means that it had some strong moves behind it. Even though the week was basically only Monday moving and then the rest of the week shopping around, that's fine. But if we look at it, we are seeing more like a strong move down with this one serving as a pullback into this fair value up here on the dailies, right? And so close this. Moving on to this week for the daily, I have put some markups on there, so I'll just unhide these so that I explain what I mean by those. I'm going to leave these ones here. I will explain when we go to these are levels I marked from the previous week, and I have also marked this, which is going to serve as a see this level here is going to serve as a uh, yeah, this level here is going to serve as a pullback point, right? So this is going to be my order block going into the new week. So I would expect price to pull back into it somewhere around this and then continuation to the downside. But that would only happen possibly in the H4 or H1, right? But it has to conform with the daily, whatever I'm talking about on the daily. So this is the daily time frame. This is the level I marked on the weekly. We've seen that price has been chopping around and still being resisted by that level. On Friday, when there was a release, I was expecting my expectation was price to take out the high of Wednesday, so we could see a breakdown, but that didn't happen, and so it's still hanging in there. This is still hanging there. Some internal liquidity, which I still somehow want to see price come back to take it out, because price, as we all believe, the market movement survives on liquidity grabs, right? So this is very nice liquidity. We have liquidity on both sides of the market. The high and then the low holds liquidity. And so whichever one gets taken first, I believe that if we are able to see the upper part of the liquidity getting taken, then we'll be set for the lower part of the market, right? These are the levels that I marked here, where I expect price to reach into. So I'm sort of looking for something like this. And then this is actually what I was expecting from the news release on Friday, to take out this high, but that didn't happen. So we moved. So I really believe that this coming week is key for whichever part of the liquidity that gets taken first on the dailies. This is H4. However, we do have this here, BPR. We have this fair value gap that was breached here, and then price has continuously left the fair value gap here on the H4, right? So granted, I want to see price come all the way to take out this liquidity, which is key for me. I'm also looking at this area here to act as support, resistance for price for maybe a continuous lower. It is likely, and it can happen. Sorry for all that. That price may refuse to come all the way to take out this liquidity. That can happen. Price can just sweep this and then resist the 4-hour BPR and then continue lower. But it is important that we watch what price does before we make any decisions, right? We've seen price break down and also close below this level here. So whatever happens here is what I'll be watching to see if we see a breakdown, right? So this is what I'll be expecting. This is the H1. If price takes out this and then reacts off of this and creates an order block here, okay, price takes and creates an order block here, price closes below the order block and then comes back to retest it, then it will be good enough for price to continue to the downside of the market, right? If price takes out this and it's not able to go above the BPR and then creates an order block on the H1, a bearish order block, then it is good enough to be used as an area to frame short, right? Right. Be good to be an area to frame our shots from, right? However, if price, I want to really take my time to explain this. However, that should be the first scenario. However, if let me this right. However, if you see price closing above this BPR, use that and also close above this level, then I believe that price will go for the liquidity I marked on the higher time frame on the H4, right? But to the last week Wednesday's high, right? But this has to happen. Price would have to close above this BPR first, and then secondly close above this level first. All right. Secondly close above this level. So first of all, we'd have to see price disrespecting this area, and then secondly disrespect this area, and then we can have a conviction that price will go for this level here before whatever happens will happen. So perhaps the first week of the first part of the week we can see this, and then subsequently we may watch whatever price action happens here to see if it can take us down or whatever price decides to do. Right? We just have to be very patient and be keen watching price, right? So that would be the expectation on dollar. Let's see for the other majors, which is Euro-USD and Gbp-USD. So quickly on the weekly, we are only seeing a close above the open of a previous weekly candle, which is signifying that we are bullish. But unlike the dollar index closing above the high, this one failed to close above the high, but it's still indicating signs of bullishness. These are levels I marked from the previous week, my expectation from the previous week. So moving forward, I would expect price to sort of come down maybe for the first part of the week and then the continuation to the upside. This is a very good, easy target, near-term target. And then if there's any momentum, we'd like to see price go here, which should be very, very vigilant, visible when we go down to the daily time frame. So on the dailies, if you can, that's the level I marked here. For the previous week, sort of flat highs, move it back. And then this is the open of the previous weekly candle. The price closed above. We've seen price actually using that as support. This is the previous week's Wednesday, the low. All right. So it is likely that if the price is going to take out the previous Wednesday's high here, then we may, I'm using may because there could be SMT. We may likely see Euro USD come to take out this low, which is also the low from the previous weekly, from the previous trading week. All right. On the H4, let's see what we have. And not to skip that, price is actually being held in this fair value gap on the day, right? It's really being held very tightly in there. On the H4, you can see that it is very typical consolidation. So price would probably need some sort of a run on liquidity, which I really strongly believe that this is really imminent. So it's likely that we can see price take out this and then perhaps subsequently give us something to trade with, right? But we'll be here to see how price trades, as we will not be in a hurry to go ahead of what the price wants to do. On the H1, pure consolidation, and so we will very much need liquidity grab before continuation, right? So that'll be it for the Euro-USD. I believe that it should do the opposite of what the dollar index is doing, and so we are likely going to see um, liquidity grab from the previous week's low, right? So quickly, I'll move to GBP-USD. GBP-USD on the weekly, actually, it's been very weak, trading inside of the um, previous week's candle, and that is partly because Euro GBP has been very strong in the past week. If you go to check the relative strength, of euro between euro and GBP on euro GBP, you would see that euro GBP has been very strong for the previous week, which is why this one actually failed to do anything. It failed to take either side of the market. Let's see for the daily. This is an opening gap I marked. Price actually traded to it, and then we see some sort of rejection from that opening gap. Why am I referencing this? And so if you take this range low, this range high, you could see that price actually have traded all the way into this here, something I marked from the previous videos, and it's also trading below equilibrium, which is it's now back in premium discount of the range, and we've seen a sharp move that closed above this, right? So our market here closed above this, and since then we've seen consolidation, sort of a retail retrace profile, right? So this would be our new range, this range here, this range low to that range high, right? That's a new range, a range inside of a trading range. And also you could see price has gradually traded to the lower part of the trading range below the 50% level into the opening gap, this close and this opening, right? Into the opening gap and a rejection, right? On the H4, right after the rejection, price traded all the way to close above this one here, right? Here, just before market close, right? First of all, we closed above this wicks, but it's still rejected, and then we closed above it here. So it is likely that the GBP is going to be stronger this week. If I open Euro GBP, you'd see that there's a rejection, and Euro GBP is beginning to trade lower, which is going to give this pair here more power to trade upwards, and that is what we are seeing here. As we are seeing Euro USD only chop, this is showing signs of strength, right? On the H1, we've seen as price took out these lows to very simple something. Take the low, closed above the down candles, retrace, closed above the down candles again, pull back again, and once again closed above here, right? So these are signs of bullishness, right? We are creating bullish order blocks along the way on the H1, right? Which is very good. We do also have this down candle, which was closed above here, right? Formed another block there. So if we take out this low, if we take out this low, it is likely, given that there is strength underlining between euro and GBP, which is the relative strength marker, it's likely that this will give us what we are looking for, right? So we should continuously expect to see same signatures here, down candles being closed above as we move up higher, right? We still do have some very good targets. This is a target, all of these highs here, all the way to 1.387, right? So that would be, this here can be a very good target if price was to trade up higher, right? So that'll be it for this week and my expectations. I would continuously be monitoring price, and also at the close of each trading day, I would come to review what price has done in relation to what I've explained here today. Right. So if this has been any helpful, which I believe, do like and subscribe. Comment below if there's anything you didn't really understand. And I will see you again. Thank you for your time.